Welcome to Tea Talk, where the topics are real, relevant, and relaxing. It's Tea Talk time, and here is Lady O.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Tea Talk. I am so happy to have you here today, and I'm excited again about our topic that we're going to be talking about. Well, as most of you know, if you don't, we're going to tell you that this is a month of May, and in the month of May, we not only do Mother's Day, but we have graduations. So, it's an exciting month for us. I have several of the people in my family, my two of my granddaughters and daughter-in-law and so forth, have birthdays in the month of May. So you can understand it's a really, really busy month for me. And it is an expensive month because, these graduates want some money, right?
Mhm.
We want to give them a gift. You know how and I want to give it to them too. It's just my pleasure to do that because they have worked so hard. So we're going to be talking about today. We're going to hear from our graduates. We're going to highlight them and celebrate them for their accomplishments. And we're going to listen to hear from them the wisdom that they have learned. Yes, do you know at every milestone, whether it's graduating from kindergarten to first grade or from, 12th grade, going to college, you've got some wisdom that you have learned. Hopefully, no, we know everybody's learned something. So they're going to share some things to some tips that will help the people coming behind them, whether it's in high school or college or wherever they're graduating from. They have learned some things that they're going to share as a student. We're going to also hear from their parents. Their parents are here, and they're going to talk about how they got their children ready to go to the next level, um, whether it was high school or college or beyond college. Um, they're going to talk about how did they get there. They're going to talk about financial aid because it costs money to send these kids there, and it costs a lot too to get into the colleges. So, what does that take? How do you end up raising a child and getting them ready to be successful? So, they've got a lot of wonderful words of wisdom that they can share with you. And so, we're going to enjoy that and ask them some questions. So, if you've got any questions to ask them or ask a parent, if you'll just put it in the chat room, and then they will go back through and look at them and give you some answers. Or we may answer it, I'm sure, while we're on the show. And I've got my wonderful, wonderful guest here today. Along with my guest, I have the program people that run Tea Talk. So all of them are here. Some of them are here, and they've got some input too that they can add. But listen, to get this show started, I want to share with you a couple of things that college you have in college, and one of them is you guys will be probably thinking about pledging a sorority or fraternity. I think we've only got girls on here today, but if you're a boy, it would be the fraternity. And that's one of the fun times that I remember in school. So sharing something that was very special to me. Um, I didn't go to a lot of the parties and things like that, but they had parties every weekend. But one of the things that I remember was developing a sisterhood, getting into a good sorority. And of course, we have several of them here. Tracy is here representing the AKAs, but I'm a Delta, so I have my Delta bag here. And a couple other things I saw when I was preparing for this lesson. These are some tassels, and I keep all of my tassels. And yeah, this one was my first one in '83. It's from Texas Southern. So this was my one that I got. It's you can't even see it's maroon and gray. And this one, no, that's Johnny's. That's from Cy Fair High School. Keep my kids too. And I forgot which one. This one may be from '97. Maybe this was from Prairie View when I got my master's degree. I think that's what that one was for. Because every time you get a degree, you get a different kind of a hat or a gown and tassels too to kind of distinguish you. This one was my last one here, and this was when I got my PhD from A&M University. And this light is not picking up real good from. I don't know if you can see it, but it has the emblem on it. So and it's black because that was what you get when you get to go get your PhD. And I also bought my hood to show you my hood that I got. Um, hooded with when I got my PhD. So it's a special way that they put it on the people that hood you and they practice. So I don't even know. I could never get it on right. But anyway, those are some of the things that you look forward to. Those of you that are watching, those of you that are parents and your kids are little or they're middle school or they're high school, those are some of the things that you have to look forward to. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and ask our guests. We have three seniors today, and they are in different forms. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you what it is they are graduating from. So why don't we start off? Let's see. Well, you know what? We could start off with our oldest, maybe. We want to start off with college graduate. Jordan, you want to start us off?
Sure. So my name is Jordan Davenport, and tomorrow at 2:30 p.m., I will be graduating from Baylor University with a Bachelor's of Business Administration in Finance.
Hey, Jordan. Okay. And so Jordan, how long did it take you to get your degree? Because it seems like you were just in high school.
I did it in 4 years.
You did? Oh my goodness, that time went by so fast. Okay, so and we are gonna go to high school now. And Miss Alea, you want to introduce yourself and tell about where you graduated from?
Yes,
Where you
ma'am.
graduated from.
My name is Aaliyah Jones, and I am graduating from Klein Cain High School,
Yay.
and I will be attending Trinity University in San Antonio in the fall to major in finance on the pre-law track.
Woo! Yay! All right, girl, have that money. Have that money. Learn about the finances. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And so we have another young lady that's going to be joining us, but she has voice lessons today. And so she'll be coming in as soon as she gets out of class there. So we'll just save her spot and come back and let her introduce herself. So as I know you're excited. I know you're excited. So what are your plans now that you have graduated? I'm going to ask Jordan because Aaliyah, I always want to call you Aaliyah, but I know what it is. Aaliyah already told us what she's going to do. So now that you're graduating from college, what do you plan to do?
Yes, ma'am. So I secured a full-time offer with Dell Technologies. So I'll be moving to Austin to work as a financial analyst. I know, but I'll be a part of their financial development program doing that. And then this summer, I have an internship with Chevron in their legal compliance group.
Oh my God. I am so excited and so proud. Even though y'all aren't my kids. I mean, you know, we kind of raised y'all all too, just to see you all going into finance and getting you already have a job and an internship. That is amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about those two different areas, because when you graduate from college, you know, and you want to get a job. And so tell me about how you prepared, or if your mother prepared you to help you prepare. How did you know what to do when you graduate to get a job and an internship? And how did you know how to do that?
So my school, at least our business school, is really good about getting jobs. Like you will get a job if you graduate from the Baylor Business School. And so we had career fairs. We have one every fall and every spring. So I would go to career fairs, talk to different companies. We had a whole like online platform just for job applications. But at the career fair, that's actually where I got to talk to Dell. And we would do their recruitment activities. They would come to campus like a couple weeks out of the month and just get to know us, teach us more about their company. So I actually ended up getting an internship with them last summer. That was something I really wanted to do, to have it on my resume, have like a real job during the summer. So I got to do that. And then that's how I secured my offer. But I just made sure to do it as early as I could so I wouldn't have to stress about that senior year.
Wow. Well, you know, you said a couple of things there. So I'm going to kind of repeat them because they're so important. Number one, you said you started early.
Yes.
So you had to have had a plan.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you get the plan?
Yeah, our school really encouraged us. So it is really hard to get an internship your freshman or sophomore year. So I would apply, and I wouldn't really get it because, you know, you just got into college. But once junior year hit, I was literally applying any opportunity that was in my field, I was making sure I was doing it. Our school also had a career center. So I would like have them like work on our resume, go to resume workshops like that. But I really just applied as much as I could as soon as I knew I was eligible to get an internship.
Okay. Because Aaliyah is going to be really listening to this, and her mother too. So that's why I started with you first. So you got to make sure you go to the right school that looks beyond you just being their student, but is looking forward to you being an employable student to be able to be successful once you pay all that money to them.
Right.
So you went to the right school, you kind of researched and checked up, these people really do have something to help me prepare for my post time here at this school. So you said career fairs, look for those. So y'all don't be partying so much that y'all don't look for the career fairs. Get your counselor. You said there was a career resource center.
Yes, ma'am. So like our school, I did my due diligence and I was researching when I came to Baylor. I was looking at graduation rates, job acceptance, and job placement rates. So I knew I had a good chance to get a job, but I did definitely utilize my on-campus resources to help get those.
So there is a place that you can go and look at the school and see what their job placement is for the students who graduate.
Yeah, so our school on their website, if you go like the business school's website, they have it by major. So you can see the acceptance rate or the job placement rates by each major.
Wow. Okay. Aaliyah, you hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you got to look for that. I know your school probably has it, but when you get on that campus, you don't want to waste time. You want to find these different places that Jordan's telling you about and start with a plan early. Stay focused with the plan and keep up with it. Because Jordan, do you have people like counselors that are calling you up to remind you of these things, or did you have?
I will say, like, I got really lucky with my school. I know every school is not like that. They were blowing our emails up. Don't forget to go to career fair. Like literally, once I got accepted to my major, they will email us like, hey, here's a job opportunity for finance majors. So I just really had to take advantage of everything because they were willing to help us so much.
So they emailed you all this information once they got it or forwarded it on, and then it was up to you to follow up, correct?
Correct.
Wow. So that's really good. That's a really, really, really good point, because I didn't know about any of those when my kids were in college. I was really trying to do it on my own for them, which I was not really qualified to do that and even close to the campus. So when they got ready to graduate, I really didn't know how to help them get a job, but it really should have been the schools helping
right
to get a job. So okay, look at the Fords. Do y'all hear that?
Yes, we listening.
So Jordan, so what kind of advice would you give to Aaliyah? Yeah, said it right, I think. Aaliyah. She knows what I'm talking about. I'm sometimes a little with my tongue. I can't quite get things right. What kind of advice would you give to her, being a newly graduated from high school?
Yeah, oh, so much. I think I would start by saying definitely make the most of your time. 4 years.
The Zoom for Tea Talk.
Okay. Hey, Pastor Johnny. Okay, we can hear you.
But it goes by really fast. So go to everything that you can go to, join as many organizations, leadership opportunities. Don't be scared. Like I remember I got to college, like my first year, I didn't really get into leadership roles or join clubs and stuff because I was like, oh, I just got here, I can't do that. But definitely take charge of the opportunities, go to all the sporting events and is your school HBCU or is it PWI?
It's a PWI.
So definitely like get involved in everything. Like don't just stick to the Black people. Like you'll learn so much and have so many great opportunities by hanging out with everyone and going to everything. And then I'll just say be smart. Don't have too much fun to where you're like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll push something off because you can forget and you can fail. Like it is different from high school in that aspect. I'm sure, your teachers told you like when you get to college, they're not going to be this nice. That's real. So just be smart and manage your time and handle your business first and then have fun, because you have plenty of time to have fun.
Exactly. That's very good advice, because I know that was one of the biggest shockers for me, is that when you get into college, especially if it's not, a Black college, you become a number. And I remember they said, for your paper, go look on, we'll post the grades and go to your number. And I'm going like, but can I talk to the teacher? No, they don't. Your number is your number. And so if you waste your time and think you're going to skate by or kind of, getting good with the teacher, it's not going to happen. Not in college. Well, that's very good advice. Very good advice. And so let me get to the mama next. Okay. Mama, what was it like raising? You got, I know you're a single mom, so you can really talk about this too, because there's going to be a lot of single moms watching. Give us some advice about how you got your daughter not only to graduate high school and get into a really great school, but to stay in college, stay focused, and to graduate.
It was a lot of prayer. First off, a lot of prayer. I would also say that we prayed together a lot. It wasn't just me, but we prayed together a lot. There are times when class may have been difficult. I also encouraged her to go to office hours. And Aaliyah, I would tell you also, if your professors offer student aid or office hours, take advantage of that. It's like anything else. If they know that you care about your education, then they will take more time and attention out for you. So really take advantage of that. But we talked a lot. We are very open and honest with one another. So I wanted her to know she can talk to me about any and everything. When she's outside of my sight, as a parent, that's difficult. And I want to make sure that she knows that she can come to talk to me about anything. So we discussed a lot. We talk about parties. We talk about being safe. We talk about being smart. We talked about being aware of your surroundings. As you are having fun, there are people out there whose objectives are not for your good. Exactly. So you have to be very, very cautious when you are away from home, because you are technically there on your own. But she also knows that she has a village. She has her god sister. She has me. She has her church family. She has a village of people that she can rely on. So she's never alone. And neither will you be, Aaliyah. You have us. You have a wealth of people at your disposal. Take advantage of that. Preparation. When you apply for FAFSA, you get the opportunity to send your information off to at least, I think, 10 schools. So we took advantage of all of that in trying to decide on where she would go to school. Touring the schools way in advance, her junior year, I think it was, trying to see what school would be a great fit for her so that we would make the best decision possible for where she would go to college.
Now that's really good information for some of the other ladies that are watching who have, middle school, elementary school, and high schoolers. You need to, how early can you fill out that FAFSA? Do you know?
Sophomore?
FAFSA is, I think, senior year, it's fall semester.
Her sophomore to junior, we started
January. Yeah,
we started searching other schools,
right,
and doing school visits during like the summer and on our off breaks to get an idea of what we liked. But I think January is when you do the FAFSA. And whenever that time is officially open, start right then. Do not procrastinate, because you want to be on the front side of getting the grants and scholarships versus getting what's left over.
And be patient with your parents, girl, because they're going to be yelling at you about not knowing their tax information. It's a lot of information, so just be patient. It's a process.
Oh, that's some shade she's sending my way, but it's okay.
I got it. I caught it. But I'm going to tell you something. I know a parent who she told her child, you should be intelligent enough to fill out that form. I'm not filling out that form for you. And there is no way that child can fill out that form. You have to fill it out.
It is so detailed. You have to be involved. And if you want your child, I wanted her to succeed. So trust and believe I was involved every step of the way.
Exactly. So that's some very good advice. I know the other thing that I wrote down that you said that's very important, because the schools see you as a number, and especially if you're in a white school, they really, sometimes the teachers and professors, I'm just going to tell you the truth, they don't see you as, capable as the other students. You have to make them see you as a human being, and you have to get to them to know your face, and not only know you as a little Black kid that sits in the corner, but to know you're intelligent. Know you come from a family, know that you're interested in your career. You got to get them to know you to be a person that is worthy of their time. And so when they're marking those grades down, because I know when I was a adjunct professor at Lone Star, and sometimes that child needed one more point or two more points. If I knew that child's face and I knew how they had really, really tried, I would find somewhere to give them those extra couple points. And that can mean the difference between a C and a D in a class. And sometimes kids cannot make Ds. And so you don't want to have a bad attitude where when they get ready to get those two little points, they're like, I'm not giving her nothing. No, she, was a really horrible student and she's the one that told me off. And even if they're mean to you or whatever, don't ever go ghetto fabulous on them. They will remember it and you will pay for it. They won't. So
that is so true. She was on a scholarship, so she could not afford Ds.
Yeah.
So, and another thing she did too was she would get to class early when school first started to get a good seat up front.
That's right. Don't sit in the back.
Don't sit in the back. And that may sound simple, but that's a really big thing. She sat in the front, so she was close to the teacher, close to the board, close to everything that was happening. And then again, making sure the teacher knew her during office hours.
And if anybody is in there that's slacking, do not hang with them. I don't care if they're Black. I don't care if they're your friend. You tell them I got a hearing problem, whatever you want to say, but you get away from them. So it looks like Adea's on. And so our next senior who's been doing voice lessons, I want to bring her on. So Adea, would you come on, introduce yourself and tell about your aspirations, what you're doing, what you plan to do, what your goals are?
Hi, my name is Adea Ogletree, and currently I am going to attend a music institution. I haven't quite made my decision yet to study vocal performance with a focus in opera.
Okay, very good. Can you scoot over a little bit closer to your dad because you're kind of out of the picture there. You kind of love him, right? Yeah, a little bit. I know I had to tell the others too, so don't worry about it. But yeah, so you know what, Adea, and we have all heard you sing at church, but the other night I was blown away when I heard you sing an opera. Is that the right word? Operatic song, or what's the right word?
It was specifically an aria. An aria is like a female song, so a female solo.
Oh, it's a female solo?
Yeah, so I sing an aria.
Aria. So an opera female solo is called an aria.
Mm-hmm.
I learned something today. Okay, so tell me about that. So you're gonna go, I know you have got your choice between two schools that are looking at you and have offered you money, and so y'all are kind of going to see which one you're gonna go to. What do you plan to do with this opera career? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're the only Black person I know that's majored in opera.
Well, what I hope to do, personally, I don't know if I want to do opera forever, but I do know that a lot of vocal technique is based in classical music. So once I get my bachelor's in vocal performance, I hope to go get my master's in vocal pedagogy. And vocal pedagogy is where you learn what your vocal cords are doing, and just learn how to sing healthily and learn how to perform always how you want to, because your voice is a weird thing. Sometimes it's going to do what you want it to do and sometimes it's not. So when you have the technique learn down and you have it down to a T, then it's almost always going to do what you want. You know, you don't want to sing based on what you think will happen, but what is going to happen.
Wow. Yeah, that control. I mean, I'm just, you know what I'm really amazed to about you, Adea, is that you are following your dream. People say, well, why don't you go into oil and gas or something like that that pays a lot of money and da da da. But you are following your dream, and that's something that I did not do. It all worked out, but you know, I want to be an interior decorator, and I was very, very good at it, and could have made a whole lot of money doing it because I was so good. But back in the day, they were saying, ain't nobody gonna hire no black person to come decorate their house, and they're not gonna pay you nothing. You need to get a job that you can feed your family, and live. So I didn't follow my dreams. So I want to congratulate you there for following your dreams, because when you're as good as you are, and it's a gift that God has given you, then the sky's the limit. I mean, people will, I just can't wait to see who discovers you and where you go from this. So follow your dream and just keep going to
though I am hard-headed, I think that I owe a lot of that to my parents. They've always been very supportive of me. And I think I can't ever remember a conversation where they discouraged me from following my dream. They've always believed in my talent and believed that I could make something of myself. So that's what made it really easy for me to be able to say, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go, because I always had them behind me, you know, rooting for me, taking me to all of, you know, things that could get me exposure, driving me to all of my early auditions, flying with me to New York and to Baltimore to audition, paying for voice lessons, you know, so.
You've been on a lot of trips, and I know you have a wonderful mother who is, you know, kind of like me. She's going to make sure the kids got it, and she's going to research it and so forth. So what kind of advice would you give to the students who are in high school, but they haven't graduated yet? Pastor Johnny, you can jump in there too as a parent. What kind of things, I know Juanita may not be there, but what kind of things as a parent or as a student would you advise to help navigate the way for those coming along behind you?
The advice I would give to a student is just do it. You know, I think I lived a lot of high school like in a shell, like scared of what people will think. And so I missed out on a lot of opportunities, or just missed out on a lot of like fun things that I could have done. And so now it's kind of like regret-ish. I don't regret that much because, you know, I still had a great high school career, but I think that my advice would be just do it while you can, because that day is going to come really soon. Like Monday is my last full day of high school. And like, I'm like, I know, right? Like, I am like still kind of blown away by that. I feel like just the other day I was walking in that school as a freshman, like, oh, when this gonna be over? I can't wait to get out of here. But you know,
and now
it came quickly. Yeah.
You know, one of the things I know you and I talked about, and I try to stay out of it because I'm grandmother, but at one time you were talking about, oh, I'm not going to my prom, da da da. And I told you, I said, you will never, ever have another prom. So go, even if you have to go alone. And that's some advice too for some of the younger people. Go to, like you just said, and I think Jordan said it too, Aaliyah, you know, get involved in whatever you can, because you won't have that opportunity anymore.
Yeah.
And there is going to come a time very, very quickly when you have to do the adult thing. And you cannot do those things because you got to work, you got kids, you got a husband, you know, those kind of things. So enjoy your youth.
Yeah.
Let me ask this of all of you. What about COVID? I mean, you served 2 years, you studied 2 years in a pandemic. And, you know, Jordan, what was that like as a student in college? I mean, I'm sure you had never dreamed that you would be doing that kind of stuff in college.
I will say I got lucky to have experienced college for 2 years. I know there's people that came in COVID, so I can only imagine that was terrible. And honestly, I loved it at first. I was like, oh, no school. Like I get to go home. This is
I
great.
put no
Like,
clothes on or do my nothing.
it was great at first. But then I did start to struggle because there are some classes where it's not the same online. It's not the same when your professor is there to really show you and not, oh, like you can stay after class. Like, no, like Zoom's over, like that's it. So it definitely got hard. And then the social aspect after a while, it's kind of like, all right, like this was nice to take a break, but I miss seeing people and just being around people. And I went to a school where like we got back to normal a little too soon. We got back to normal very quickly when everyone else was still shut down, like we were back in person. So it was weird. You know, you got so used to not being around people and then having to kind of readjust was definitely weird. But I am lucky that I've had a pretty normal senior year.
Well, that's really great. Okay, Miss Aaliyah, what was it like going through COVID in high school? What was it like?
I always like think about it as I walked out of the building thinking that I was just gonna go on spring break my sophomore year, and
Yeah.
then I walked back in my senior year. And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of so hard to explain. And especially like, because it's funny because I feel like adults expect for us to be like, oh, you don't understand, even though they're always like, I was once in your shoes. I went to high school too. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, but you didn't experience a global pandemic in the middle of high school. So it's always hard to like convey the feeling. It's like the best way I can explain it, even now, like post like shutdown, is like you have to grieve what you lost, you know, like you didn't have the pep rallies, homecoming, like how I said, like you thought it was just spring break, and then you thought, oh, I got an extra week, and then they were like, no, you're not coming back, and you're like, oh, okay. And it's like, at first it was cool. I was like, okay, I can go to class in my bed, and then it was like, oh my gosh, I feel alone. I feel disconnected from my friends. I don't feel like I'm getting the high school experience. This is supposed to be the best years of my life. This is not the best years of my life. And so it was like, it has its good things because I felt like during that time, people in my age group, and I know I can say that for myself as well, like we all had a bunch of like self-discovery moments. We realized what self-care was and things that we thoroughly enjoyed doing, things that would make us happy or brought us peace. But like there were also a lot of down, like very low moments. And I feel like, I think it made my generation appreciate life and each other a lot more. Like, you know, a lot of people get caught up in the idea of I'm independent, I don't need friends, I can do it by myself. But I feel like it made me and a lot of other people realize like community is important. And I definitely have seen that transitioning from high school to college, like how my community has affected that entire process positively. And so COVID, it was something.
It was yucky, and I thank you for being transparent, because I think that for me and for most of the people that I know, coming through church and even just having my own circle of friends and grandkids and so forth, I heard a lot about the word depression. I heard a lot about, anxieties and things like that. Um, so, as a high school student, I know you guys went through some of that too. Um, do you think that helped prepared you for what anything you have to confront? And I know you said it makes you appreciate your friends more.
Mhm.
So do you think it prepared you? Adele, you want to answer that question a little bit more for dealing with, because you're going to be away from your parents. Both of you are. I don't know how far Adele's going to go, but I know Alea's not going to be that far, but still you're not going to be at home with that village right there at your reach. Thank God for cell phones. You can pick them up and Zoom and all that kind of stuff. But uh, has do you worry about that, leaving home, that loneliness, or not having friends, or uh, anxiety or depression or anything like that? Which we all have been through depression. So if you haven't, you're gonna. I just want to kind of give you a little heads up. You will get depressed sometimes.
I think that it definitely prepared for being alone and being, I think what I learned during COVID is there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And that sometimes you can find like, you don't always have to be lonely when you're alone. And sometimes you just have to be okay with not being around people. And that's one of the things I was talking to my little sisters about, because they want phones. But I think that me not having a phone so late taught me how to be okay with myself, like, and not always need to be in contact with people. And so I know that people were struggling with not having direct like contact with people, like in-person contact, because they weren't used to being alone or just having to spend moments with their self. And so during COVID, I did a lot of self-reflection, you know. I was by myself. I think that it really helped me see like my own patterns, because I wasn't having to take into other people's emotions into account, I guess. Like, I was just dealing with what I was thinking, and there was no outside emotions or, you know, influences coming in. So I did a lot of journaling, and like in that journaling, you can just see your thought processes when you write everything down, and you're like, okay, this is a reoccurring thought that maybe I need to, you know, shut down quickly.
Shut it down.
And so I think that that's how I personally got through my COVID depression, because for me, what COVID did is it made things feel like hopeless, because, you know, when you have to go to school every morning, like get up and go, you know, that's your job for the day. That's your like purpose for today. Yeah. But when you just get to lay in bed, you're like, oh, you know, this again, you know? So I think that's how COVID contributed to depression, and how I kind of got out of it, I guess, even though you don't get out of depression, but you know.
Well, no, I think you're absolutely right, because I think one of the things that, you know, I just noticed, and when I just tried to say to people when I knew they were depressed, I would try to call them, you know, so don't shut yourself out. I think you're right. You got a chance to really get to know yourself, and you have to love yourself. But I think the thing that COVID taught me too, I already knew, but it really showed it, is that we're not an island. We were not made to be alone. God created us to have communion with one another, to have friends. And so sometimes I think we can just say, oh, I don't need anybody. You know, I don't need her. I don't need, yes, you do. Friends are very important. And so they're not perfect. I think that's what I would say. So sometimes your friends get on your nerve or whatever, you know, you're not going to talk to them anymore, but they are important. So I think that you have to have a balance, because like you said, you get to journal, get to know yourself. But if it's just you for 2 years, that's not good. And eventually you will find yourself, like I said, kind of going over the end, where you get into a depression and no hope, no aspirations of doing anything. So you have to make yourself get up and do something. So I think that's something that you could learn. So Jordan, what about you? Did y'all have any depressive things going on? I know you were at a white school pretty much, so y'all didn't really have COVID very much, because they didn't believe in wearing masks and all kind of stuff. But so tell me, but I do know that you were up there during the time when they had Black Lives Matters, had a lot of killings of Black people. What was it like? Speak to us about being on a white campus, going through COVID and Black Lives Matters and all that stuff, and having to get along with people who may not have been somebody you want to be friends with, or you know, what did you go through?
It was a lot. I will say I was very blessed to go to a school. I went to a Christian school. So I will say that people do take heed of that. And, you know, it's not as bad as things could have been. But I did witness firsthand for my first time, like us Black students coming together, doing marches, doing protests, our Black athletes doing protests. And it was a bit.
Did that at school? Y'all did that?
We did. And it was discouraging. There was one point where the Black students were trying to get the president of our university to say Black Lives Matter, and they would not do it on like the university platforms. And so it was definitely hurtful to see some of the things that like professors and students would say, and see the way that the university handled certain situations. It was sad to see some of my friends go through some things. I was very lucky I didn't get terrible experiences, but to know that people that I cared about did, it was really sad. But it was also comforting to know that, like, even though I'm at this institution with all these people that don't look like me, there's a community. There's a community of people who are going through the same thing as me and who are here to support and love me and share the same experiences.
Wow.
And it was very eye-opening, honestly, just that reminder of you're Black.
Come on.
You're Black, and just because you're a Black person that made it to college, they don't see you as equal.
Right.
You might be a little bit better, but not really.
But you're not really in the group.
No, you are not.
Come out until you step out of your place.
Not at all. You are not.
Remind you who you really are. Okay, Miss Yolanda, come on, talk about this. I know you as a mother, my daughter's marching. They up there with Black Lives Matters, and she's up there in a campus that is not, you know, as friendly as, you know, I'm thinking. Were you worried about her? What did you do as a parent?
I was extremely proud. I think pride overtook worry.
Yeah.
I was so proud of her because that was such a time when she could have stayed in her bubble, stayed in her apartment and been safe, but she was out there doing what she felt was right. And I was really, really, really proud for her and of her. And as she mentioned, it was very eye-opening. The things that our parents went through, the things that our forefathers went through, she got a minor taste of what that was like, a minor taste.
Taste.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before,
she got a real good taste of it.
She did.
But even growing up with me, I was telling somebody one time, I said, I didn't get a chance to experience the 60s in that radical kind of way because I was a little girl. And so I didn't really see all that. I heard about it, and we didn't have TVs and things that you could actually see. You'd have that nightly news that went off at 10 o'clock. And they showed you what they wanted to show you, but we never did see everything. We heard, you know, so-and-so got killed and da-da-da, but we really didn't, we weren't on the campuses marching at that time. That was kind of over when I got there. And so I thought I would never see it. And when I'm looking at what I'm seeing today, it is unbelievable that 50 years later, we're having that same thing, ugly head, rising up. And you think that people that you thought of you as a human being and a person who was smart and worthy of, you know, whatever, that they really don't think of you that way. They were just tolerating you. So it was really, I prayed for the kids, because being on campus, I don't know what would have happened, but I do worry about that. One of the things that I did with and Pastor Johnny's on here, and I want him to speak too. I want the men to speak. But Pastor Johnny, you know, when you were coming up, one of the things that I did, we're talking about searching for the right school for your child. I made sure that I searched for the right school for my child. Lamberty was able to go to NYU, you know, all the white kids up in New York, and that fit her. But for Pastor Johnny, he's a man, a Black male. And I said, he has to go to a historically Black university. I cannot send him out there because I know what he will be facing. And I knew I wanted him to have a family of some Black mamas and daddies up there that could get him straight and to care about him more than just a number. So when you went to school, Pastor Johnny, I know you went to pretty much all Black school. I don't think, were there very many white kids that went to your school?
No, not many white students at all.
Yeah. What was the advantage, do you think, that, or disadvantage? Maybe I did you a disservice. You went to an all-white high school, but you ended up going to an all-black college. What was the difference? And I'm asking you this because parents, you don't just send your kid to school because that's a nice school that you like. You got to match the school so that your child can be successful, because you can even damage them if you put them in a setting where they cannot handle what's going to happen in that Ivy League school, even though they're smart. They got to be emotionally ready.
It was a little bit of culture shock, but for the most part, the largest challenge was not being around Black students because I was at a Black church. But at the same token, I was in a city that was kind of a metroplex that had people from New York, New Jersey, the North Carolinas, Baltimore, DC, Philly. And so, yeah, there was a lot of different cultures and backgrounds that were kind of mixed in there. So that was probably the largest challenge that I faced, is dealing with people from other states and cities.
Yeah. And see, that was something that I didn't know. I'm thinking I'm sending him to this Black school, but it's a difference in a Black school that's up north than one that's down south. So the values and things like that. So some of the things that I was seeing in this little Black school up north, I thought, whoa, this is not where I really wanted him to learn or to be exposed to. But he made it. One of the things that I remember, two things I'll tell you real quickly that you definitely need to do as a parent. You make sure that your child has the right stuff in high school to be able to get into college. Because Johnny went to a pretty much all white high school, and they thought he should go to a trade school because he was an underachiever. Not that he wasn't smart enough. He just didn't want to do the work. So they thought, hey, we just gonna put him in a little track to go to be, I guess, a mechanic. I don't know what they were thinking, but they didn't know who his mom and daddy was. So I said back up there, I'm not signing this paper because Johnny's going to be going to college. So, you got to be careful about where people will try to track your kids. And I'm telling his story because I want to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else. So my success story is the second year that Johnny was there, he ran for vice president of the university. Johnny, you want to tell that story?
Oh, yeah, I was the vice president of the student government my sophomore year at Virginia Union, and also made the dean's list freshman and sophomore year as well, and ended up staying in the presidential dorm that was for all of the upper class students as well.
Yeah. And that was all because, you as parents, you got to make sure people don't talk about what your child can't do. I knew what he could do. I knew he was a leader. And so why am I going to send him to some other school that's white just because he can get in that school? Because they're going to destroy his self-esteem. I needed somebody to build his self-esteem up. I needed somebody to bring the leader out of him, that he felt like he was okay and he was not less than. So I'm saying that to some of you all, just be careful about where you allow your child to go, especially Black men. Black women we can kind of feel our way, but Black men, there seems like there's an attack on the Black men to make them feel inferior. And I see Kendall's on here. Hi, Kendall. Welcome. So glad you could make it. So listen, Kendall, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us, where you've graduated from. We're also offering some advice for the students that are coming behind you. And here we had some news. You see, I got my little purse here. I was telling about some wonderful things that you get to experience on campus. So talk to us, Kendall.
Yes, ma'am. I attend Loyola University, New Orleans. I actually just crossed Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, spring 22. My mom just got here. My graduation is actually tomorrow. But my word of advice, honestly, is to live in the moment. Do not rush it. Take your time. There's literally nothing to rush for. Everything will be there. Everything that God has already planned for you, it's already written and it's already done. All you have to do is put in the work for it.
Put in the work. I love those two things you said, enjoy the moment, because like I tell kids, y'all are rushing it so much. Enjoy this time. It's going to go by real fast, and you will be an adult as sooner than you want to be. Enjoy your youth. Enjoy the things that are available to you. But then the other part you said is you got to work. You got to work and get what it is. And so take advantage of the moment too. Enjoy the moment, but take advantage of the moment, that you don't lose opportunities. So are there any opportunities that you could share that maybe you were able to take advantage of during your years in college?
Yes, actually, I was also part of Student Government Association, and ever since I joined my sophomore year, I was the College of Business Senator, and that just totally changed the course of my entire college experience. I initially was an economics major, but I changed it to political science, and I made my major my minor. And it just made me become more involved with school. It actually heightened my network with my professors, with my peers who I was graduating with. So those opportunities definitely just changed the entire course of where I started from freshman year to a year from my sophomore year.
Right. That's very good advice, because what you said, and someone said earlier too, that you need to get involved in leadership, get involved on being on the government, panel or whatever it is. Don't just go to school. There's so many other opportunities that make you a well-rounded person and opens up doors of opportunities by connections and, getting to know people and people getting to know you rather than you just being in your dorm room studying, we don't want you out there partying every day. Tell us about the parties, y'all. Okay, come on, college students. What about the parties? Come on. Because they're going to be invited to parties, right? Tell them what to do, what not to do. Come on.
Well, you do not need to be at every party. You do not need to be seen everywhere. Pick and choose the places you want to go. You'll kind of figure out quickly where you need to be and where you do not need to be.
Hard way, huh?
Yes, don't be the first one there. Don't be the last one to leave. That's not a good look. Freshman year, after freshman year and the first half of sophomore year, that faded quickly because you just don't have the energy. I promise you won't have the energy. You will not have the time. So yeah, use the freshman year and sophomore years for the fun. But after that, I say wrap it up.
Well, you know what? I think you're absolutely right, but caution them about how many kids came in as freshmen and they partied and thinking that they would have that next year to make it up, and they got kicked off. They're on academic probation, or they got pregnant or got into some kind of thing.
So to be transparent, yes, my first semester of freshman year, I wasn't partying, but I was not focused as I was when I was in high school. I lost focus. I actually started off with a 1. It was what GPA? It was a bad GPA.
It was low, huh? But I thank you for being transparent, because by you being transparent, it's going to tell somebody if your GPA gets low, you can still make it. There's still hope. How do you move from there and still graduate? Okay, so go ahead, finish.
So I had to change my friends. I had to change who I was working with, dealing with. I had to change my focus. I had to come back home to Miss Janine over here, recenter, and remember where I came from. Remember what I came to school for. I had to work hard. Sophomore year, that was probably my hardest academic school year to get myself back where I was. I had a 1.75 GPA my first semester. Next semester, I came back with a 3.3 GPA my second semester. And ever since then, it's been rolling. So I had to work my way back up to where I am now.
So don't give up. Okay, Mother, we're hearing from the parents too. So give us some advice on, how I know you have a couple of graduates here recently. And so tell us, as a mother, what do you do to help those kids press their way through without being a person that they hate?
Two things. Lean on your village. And I can honestly say part of my village is on the screen.
Yeah.
I have some sisters for real here who have helped. I've been able to lean on, not only in raising her and raising Dominic, lean on your village, because they will listen sometimes to other people that they trust. And they'll say the exact same thing we said, but they'll listen to them. The other thing that I would say is push them early to become involved and engaged in activities. The things that we made our kids do in terms of being active with church and having to do the Easter speeches and the Christmas plays, those are things that build their confidence. So when they have to go and stand before professors, college presidents, that shyness, that nervousness, they've already gotten past that because they've had to stand before their congregation. And we can't underestimate the importance of that, because it really, really gives them that confidence of being able to stand firmly and boldly and speak in front of public places and also advocate for themselves.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
You know, one of the things that we intentionally do at First Met, we did it with our kids, but we intentionally do it at First Met. We always want to offer a platform for our children to be leaders and to be on stage. So, and one of the little jokes, Pastor Johnny and I had, you know, he was my first, so I was learning how to do it, so I didn't do everything right. But I told him, I said, yeah, you're going to sing in the choir. No, I'm too big to be in that choir. You know, I'm a senior. And so making him sing in the choir and making him even the graduation money. I'm going to say this real quickly because your parents are probably going to want to back me up. But Johnny got all this graduation money, and so he wanted to go and blow it. And I said, oh no. Well, first of all, he wasn't applying himself in high school. And I knew what the literature, English and the novels and the reading was going to be like. And he wasn't going to be with me. So I took him to the bookstore and we picked out these novels and books and things like that, and a tape recorder, because I said, just read into the tape recorder since you know, I'm not going to be there to listen. I want to hear your tape recording that you're actually reading these books. So we did that summer. But where Johnny's surprise and shock came and his anger at me was, Johnny, you want to tell it what you got mad at me for? Go ahead, tell it. You on mute.
Oh, when I was in college, mom made me buy 2 books, and then also paid for some tutoring to increase my reading rate so that I could perform better in college. But it worked out because I ended up being on the school newspaper. I was one of the assistant editors and a writer. And because of that, I was able to take those books, and I actually did some book reviews in the school newspaper for that. And then also use one of those books for a book report. So it all worked out in the end.
Well, yeah, the part that he didn't tell was we got all the stuff that he was going to need for that summer to get ready for college that fall. And we got to the front of the counter. I said, oh, no, you paying for this. You know, so I made him, he's, I don't have the money. Oh, yes, you do. You got that graduation money. Pull it out. You're going to pay for this. You're going to pay for summer school to get you ready for this. Because he had goofed off, you know, and I told him, I said, you're going to need it. So he was so mad at me the whole summer, and I made him read it to this tape recorder. So I was making sure that he wasn't punishing me by me sitting down listening to it. But I could listen to the tape recorder. So anyway, that next fall, he called me back. He said, Mom, those 2 books that you made me buy and read, he said, they're on our reading list for my English class. And he said, and I've already read it. So anyway, trust your parents, you know, don't go waste your money, put it into a bank account and do something. You sure you have a little fun with it, you know, buy you a few clothes or whatever, but don't waste all that money on stuff like that. Put it into, you know, a bank account and don't waste it. Okay. Parents, let's see, who has not talked? Oh, I need to hear from Deacon Mike Ford, because I want to make sure the men have. Okay, you're another daddy out here. What is it like, Daddy? What are you thinking?
Well, to be honest, I'm happy she's going to Trinity. We went to A&M. We visited A&M, which is a nice school. We visited Texas, went to Texas some years ago, and she brought up Howard, but I wasn't thrilled about that for the simple fact it was too far.
It was too far. So, I know you were gonna say that.
I wasn't thrilled about that. But when Sister Novella Carter told us about Trinity, so we went there, and she liked it. She really liked Trinity, and I liked it too. It's because it's more. It's more intimate setting. You know, it's not a big university where, and this is just my opinion, not no slander to the big university. Like you could get lost in the shuffle, you know. So it's more intimate setting where she can get more time with the teachers, you know. But and plus it's in San Antonio, right up the street. I can jump in my truck and be on the way.
That's what really was number one.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of her, and just where I'm impressed with her, and I'm sure a lot of kids have done the same thing, was during that pandemic, when they were at home, no school, grades stayed at A level, on A's and B's, mostly A's, because I know I couldn't have done it. My focus is, that's impressive to me. Yeah. I mean, to be that focused, not being as, that's just real focus to me. And she's done that her whole school career.
Well, y'all raised her well. Of course, she has a great grandmother and a whole village around her. Our expectations of all of you all have been very high. I don't know if y'all know it. And it's not just your mom and dad. It's all of us, you know, putting our little nose in there and just saying, Aaliyah, how's it going, Aaliyah? What you doing? Well, you know, we just kind of getting all up in your business because we love you. Okay. So let's say, Sister Four, you hadn't said nothing. Let me hear from you, Mama, because I know you've been crying already.
Oh yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm getting practice in. To be just honest, from a young age, she always had her path. Mm-hmm. She always had her path, and I'm just so grateful that we did not have to force her to have a path. We didn't have to force her to go to church. We didn't have to force her to do her homework. We didn't have to force her to select a college. She has been visiting colleges since what, sixth grade? She went to Rice. She went to just visiting colleges because that's what she wanted to do. And we just been impressed with her fight and her wanting to be good. She wanted to do better. And I don't know if she want me to share this, but I will. One morning we were on our way to work, and I would drop her off every day because I took her out of one district and put in another district. So I have to pick up, drop off, and I didn't care because that's sacrifice as a parent.
Right.
She said, Mom, you know what? I just want to do better than what this family have been doing. You know, I want to make it in life. I want to do better. And I looked at it and I said, that's what parents want. We want you guys to be better than what we are.
Exactly.
And so that's the kind of kid she is. She always strived to do better. And we didn't have to force her. I just thank God that he gave us one easy one.
Look at hallelujah. Well, listen, guys, our time is about up, but I want you all to just know that I am so super proud of each and every one of you. I just to have known you and watched you grow and develop and to see where God is taking you. I believe, and I'm not just saying this, each one of you here, God has a calling on your life. He has a plan that he has for you. He gave you the parents to help you charter the way. He gave you the village, the church, the role models and the models that would help you be who you are. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget the people who helped you chart the way. Your mother and father, I don't know if y'all heard my sermon on Sunday, but get that sermon if you didn't hear it. Don't ever disrespect your parents because they have sacrificed and given a lot because they love you. And they don't want the money back or anything like that. All they want is a little respect. And they want you to be successful and appreciative. And I know you guys are. So I am so proud of you. I pray God's blessings, his choicest blessings on you. And I can't wait for the next chapter in your life to unfold. So God bless you. Congratulations. I look forward to being at your parties. If I can't make it, I've got something for you. But just know I'm super, super proud of what God has done and what you've done. So God bless you and congratulations and go for it. We'll see you next week on Tea Talk for another wonderful subject. Let's applaud these graduates.